Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to quickly cover Tezos here. It was a request from my community members, of course, asking that I cover this, kind of see if it's worth shorting or not. We'll find out, obviously. Hopefully, help you out there. Just know if you're new to the channel, not a financial advisor, love teaching people how to trade. This is my full-time job. I do this every day for a living, and I have an amazing trading community. If you want to consider joining, becoming a member, I share signals for every single trade that I take. I have a trading academy, teaches you how to become a better trader. The whole 9 yards. I think you would love it, and I would love to get to know you better as well. So check that out in your own time. So taking a look here at Tezos. This is the weekly chart, just kind of get a baseline, kind of what's going on in the big picture. 50-day SMA is the only thing I'm really pulling up there, but a key takeaway I want to kind of point out is that we are still in bearish divergence territory. In other words, we're under 50 on the RSI. That is commonly it commonly happens with Tezos, actually. In other words, to come down, stay below for some time. It did that back in the summer, and then of course it comes back up. So simply put, the bottom line is that Tezos has a tendency of shooting up, having really bullish momentous trends, and then coming back down. The important thing here is to try to identify if we're on the downtrend right now or not. According to the the RSI and the MACD, we can kind of see that we are. There's really no indication it's going to turn around, but on the same accord, how much lower can this go, right? This bearish divergence can only last for so long. So the weekly chart kind of gives us a baseline, letting us know that it's trying to turn around, but it hasn't yet. Let's look at the 1 day and kind of see what's going on here. We're still below the 50-day simple moving average, which I don't love. Not like it's a bad thing. It's just that it's still considered a potential resistance, and the price action until it gets above that, I wouldn't consider this to be bullish by any stretch of the imagination. But if we take a look at daily sequential here, you can see we might have 2 more days worth of continuation, possibly. With us having a doji candle from yesterday and a doji candle today, double dojis do typically refer to a reversal. So the common practice is that generally if you have one doji, you kind of want to sit and wait for it to make up its mind, right? It's an indecision. Does it want to go higher? Does it want to go lower? Because again, the starting and the ending of that day into the same place, right? So it could have went up to 100, could have went down to 50, but it stayed at 75 the whole time, right? That's essentially the consideration. So in this scenario here, if we have a second doji candle, just say today's candle closes on a doji, then that would be a consideration to possibly take a short, just in the simple fact that we're rejecting out the 50-day SMA potentially. We are also reaching 2 days of indecision. That's commonly a reversal. Okay, just again, there's no guarantees. It's just a likelihood, right? So there's more likelihood it's going to come back down than it is to go up at this point. All right, we still got 4 hours left in this candlestick pattern though, okay? So this candlestick hasn't fully closed yet. So I just maybe wait a little bit, of course. But if you were to open a short position, for example, do not have a super tight stop loss, just based on the fact that if it were to come up and kind of candle wick out, because you can kind of tell that there's a decent amount of spread here, which basically just means that from bottom to top, yeesh, that's like a 10% 10% jump, right? So it's definitely up and down a lot in a short amount of time. So you got to respect that as well. So adjust your stop accordingly if you were to consider a short. Me personally, I foresee Bitcoin in the near future taking another leg down. I wouldn't say it's going to happen today. We could very well see that head and shoulders pattern complete on the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. So you might want to check out my video. I'll link it above that I just covered for Bitcoin, so you can understand what's going on, because Bitcoin, albeit not exactly concurrent with Tezos, right? Obviously, Tezos has done well or better than Bitcoin. It's still in a similar pattern in the sense that Bitcoin had 8 days continuation. Yesterday was a red day. We've had 7 days of continuation from Tezos. Is tomorrow going to be a red day? I would say odds are it will be, but again, no guarantees, right? So again, take short trades at your own risk. Always be careful, and do not use too much leverage either. I know you can totally wreck your account if you do that, so just be cautious, please. But at this point, it doesn't look like there's a tremendous amount of momentum. One, I guess, silver lining is that we're up over 50 on the RSI, which is helpful. This could effectively work as a support level, but it's done this a few times in the past. If you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, almost 6 times where it's come up above and gets shot right back down. So again, the bottom line is that Tezos, big picture, we looked at the weekly, it's on a downtrend. Okay, it hasn't broken that downtrend yet, even though we've had 7 days of continuation. All right, so just keep that in mind, right? Is it really just going to continue to blast off? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I know that's not very helpful, but I hope you understand the sentiment. So, okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart and kind of see what's going on here. First of all, moving averages were kind of just rejected off the 4-hour 200-day SMA. That's not a good sign either. Traditionally speaking, 200-day SMA works as a strong resistance, and we're still getting stuck underneath that. We had one 4-hour candlestick close above, but it's too premature to look at that, right? Again, for confirmation, I like to try to get this, bring this home. A lot of people I know, I see talk in the chats or whatever, just talking about like, a 4-hour, break above a specific moving average, for example. So just say this 4-hour broke above the 50 or the 200 actually, rather. This is the 200. So the 200-day simple moving average, the price broke above that, right, for 4 hours. That's all well and good. But do you really want to put all your eggs in that basket just because it's doing that, right? That's not a good sign, right? You want to have more confirmation, and confirmation just helps you understand that you're moving in the right direction, right? Why be premature? Why cut yourself short? You got to wait, right? Patience is key. So if you wait for the 1-day candlestick perhaps to close, and if we get, just say that second, we get like a red day, so to speak, or just say a double doji, for example, then we are probably going to know that the turnaround is more inevitable. But at this point, it's too premature to obviously, understand that just one 4-hour candlestick is enough confirmation. Okay, so again, it hasn't broken that plane yet. It has to close above continuously in order for that to work as a support. Okay, so it more so got rejected off that than it did a support. There was 8 hours before, and then the most recent 4-hour, it kind of came above and got kicked back down. So not a good sign there in that sense, right? That's generally what we're looking at there. Moving on to RSI on the 4-hour here, we can see that we got rejected off of 70, which is standard for a continuation of this length. In other words, you look at TD sequential, you can see we're well past 9, and obviously we got into overtime, and then of course it tries to push up again. So the second leg up, so to speak, that second push has been unsuccessful so far. Granted, it hasn't finished yet, but on the same accord, it's not showing a lot of strength. It shows that there's a lot more resistance here at this previous 9, which on TD sequential is right around 390. So 390 is essentially a major resistance level here. Okay. One thing we also want to take a quick look at here, we'll go ahead and pull this up for Fibonacci. Yeah, just go ahead and pull this up for the moment, so we have some kind of understanding as well. We might have a support right around 367, right around that point. So to keep that in mind, the price could come down, kind of consolidate 367. There's a possibility of that. I'm not saying the price is just going to drop here from at this point, but again, you got to respect the fact that there's been 7 days of continuation of the upside. There's going to be a point where it needs to cool off. It is cooling off right now, right? We got this double doji pattern forming. But usually when you have that, there's a likelihood of it coming down more so than going up. So I think that's kind of more the common denominator here is that we got overextended on the midterm and the price is wanting to turn back around. You look at the MACD, it's ready to reverse at any moment, right? So again, there's a lot of reasons why Tezos could and should turn around. I would say it's more likely than not, but again, these are just sentiments, so to speak, of what we're able to extract from the data. Doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen, but I don't really see it taking off much further from here. It should at the very least, consolidate sideways for a couple more days. If it does, that's all well and good. It might leg up again. But we got to see what that resistance looks like. Anytime it tries to come up to this point about 390, 392, upwards of just say 399, it's getting rejected. Okay, there's obviously a lot of selling pressure right there. It doesn't want the price to go past. Okay, so that's kind of where we're at there. I was looking at the 1 hour though. Let's go ahead and see according to TD sequential. Hold on, I'm sorry, Ichimoku Cloud. According to Ichimoku Cloud, we've got a sell signal on one front. Almost 2. So the price right now, good. Here's a consolation for those in the bull markets there, or those holding long positions. The price is bouncing effectively off of the cloud. Again, this is premature. It's only 1 hour, but initially you can see that rejection there. So that's a good sign for the longs. A good sign for the shorts is the fact that we got the lagging span intersecting with the price action. In fact, it's done that for quite a while. So at this point in time, literally speaking, or just, sorry, not literally speaking, you should not consider opening a short or a long position. Based on this data here, it's telling us that you should have closed your long position by now. It doesn't tell us we need to open a short position yet either, right? There's that consideration as well, because the simple fact that we still got the conversion line above the baseline, that tells us a long position could effectively still be in play. We're also holding above the cloud as well. So we've got 2 out of 3 reasons to hold our long position open, right? I would have closed my long position a long time ago, don't get me wrong, but generally speaking, that's telling us that. So there's literally 0 of 3 rather, indications that we want to have an open short position, right? So again, big picture is telling us we're going to see a reversal probably soon. Small picture here, basically the micro is basically telling us that we're seeing this potential shift in momentum from a bullish trend to maybe a bearish trend. Again, this could just be a consolidation before the next leg up. You never truly know. But this is telling us a lot right here at this point that if you do have a long position, you might want to consider closing it. Okay. So hopefully all that stuff helped you understand a little bit more, I guess, kind of about what's going on. I know that doesn't give you a definitive answer one way or the other, but the bottom line is that the macro still doesn't look great. The weekly is basically telling us that we are still in a downtrend. The 1-day chart is telling us that we could see a turnaround, potentially, especially if there's a double doji candle. And then, of course, the overall sentiment in the market right now is that Bitcoin is going to leg down again. Granted, Tezos hasn't essentially followed Bitcoin to a T. It has also been impacted by Bitcoin in a few ways, right? Anytime Bitcoin does sell off, it's retracing some, not completely. So you shouldn't expect Tezos to come down to 250 in the next week or two. I think that's an unlikelihood, right? But we can consider that it might actually break the support level here at about 367 and come down maybe 343. So if you're going to consider like entry targets or just say profit targets, somewhere around the lines of maybe just say 345, just above a maybe Fibonacci retracement level, or maybe just say 330 would be a secondary one there. Again, anytime you set targets, you always want to put them just above a major support or resistance level, depending on the direction you're heading. Okay. So again, just something to consider there, but I hope you did find value here today. That is my insight. I hope it serves you well, and just make sure you're cautious and careful. If you're using leverage, actually, here's the rule of thumb on leverage: don't use it, right? Unless you're very, very good at what you do. All right. Second of all, if you're going to use leverage, use a small amount, set a realistic stop loss, and ensure that you pay close attention to it. I'm a big fan of setting it and forgetting it, but when it comes to leverage, you almost want to watch it meticulously in a lot of ways to ensure you're on the right track and understand that you are, again, you want to make sure you're on the right track. So you want to pick a side, right? So in this case here, is it going to be bearish or bullish? That's the side you got to pick. Obviously, with the double doji, I think we're going to see a reversal soon, but that's just my personal opinion. Okay. But again, these candle wicks are pretty large, right? So you got to have some travel, some play in there. If you're going to have a tight stop loss, you might want to have, I don't know, a slightly less tight stop loss, if that makes any sense. All right, I'm going to stop talking before I go in circles. I hope you get to catch my drift. Thanks so much again for your time. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. If you're not currently a community member, please consider joining. Awesome experience. I'm looking forward to getting to know you better. You have yourself a great rest of your day.